Constitution.
Is it time to end this charade?
We're trying hard as we can. It's hard to keep the people focused on one issue of, where their money's created. We get that one issue settled out and try and chain them to the Constitution. Things might happen the way we need it to happen.
What about HR 1207? We need to get the word out on that, right?
If we're gaining 10 co-sponsors a day, it shouldn't take but another week before we get them overwhelmed. Yeah, we got so many people that are working on one thing like this so hard that they figure, oh, we better get in front of them and lead the bandwagon in the direction we want to. That's why they're jumping on board and trying to take credit for all the tea parties and everything else.
Yeah, I think any of our so-called representatives that don't get on the bandwagon for this 1207 should be in the trash can next election. Yeah,
and that's awful strange that Trent Franks is the only one in Arizona that's co-signed on.
That's sad.
That's a lot of phone calls need to be made.
Yeah, for sure.
I told her she put her boobs over the top of them, we'd probably get some more looks.
Huh?
I told her we put her boobs over the top, we'd get more looks. And the bed!
So what are you guys doing out here today?
We're just standing up for the truth and just, using our rights to express our discontent with what's going on right now. It's just, it's sick, and people need to open their eyes, and it's tough because everybody's living in this illusion. A lot of people are. More people are seeing.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even really know what the Fed is.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
It's kind of sad,
Yeah. But, they think it's part of the government. They don't realize it's a private institution.
A private institution that really runs the country.
Yeah.
Or I should say ruins the country, but...
Yeah.
So you think standing out here on the streets really does any good?
I think it does. For me, I feel like I'm being part of the solution rather than just being in worry and meeting other people who are like mind. It's like I think we will turn on other people's minds onto what's going on as well. And I feel good being out here. I'm actually happy to be out here because I feel like I'm doing something towards the solution and not just being negative and in fear.
All right, well, it's good to see patriots out here and more people who are willing to take action and do something.
I was actually in New York. I flew into that the day of 9/11, so I saw firsthand all of that.
Oh, really?
And it was until 4 or 5 years later that I really realized what happened in that situation. Recently, actually, I just realized.
Yeah. Well, that's the case with most Americans. I think nobody really, everybody just kind of believed the story they told us right offhand,
Yeah.
And then it wasn't for most people probably 3 or 4 or even 5 years later that they really started to look into it and question it. And as more people did and it got on the internet, and more people were aware of what really happened. It was a false flag attack, and that...
And most people don't even know what that means, false flag attack.
Yeah.
They don't understand that.
It was really their first step in taking control of the country, and this economic crisis is just like what they're doing to finish us off, 9/11 gave them, a free hand for preemptive wars. They've used it to destroy the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and now they're going to try to finish us off with an economic collapse.
Yeah.
So it's too bad more people don't.
I'm hopeful though, because I think that there's more leaders, like Ron Paul and leaders like other people that are stepping up in the world and speaking the truth. And musicians like Immortal Technique, I don't know if you know them, but they're a rap group, and they rap a lot about the corruption in this world, the 9/11 and that kind of thing. So it's refreshing to hear the truth after you just get lies spelled out to you off of so many mediums, TV and radio, and it's so thick. I can't even sit.
Well, that's the other part of our battle is the media. We're really fighting the big monster there, because they own that too. So it's kind of hard to fight these guys when they have all the money and they own everything.
Yeah, but it's power of speech and connecting with people and this type of things. I think the internet's been a godsend. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for being here.
You bet. Thank you.
How's it going?
It's going good, man.
So what's your purpose for being here today?
My purpose? I want to stop this nonsense. They're bankrupting my grandchildren, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that the Federal Reserve runs this country and we didn't elect any of them.
Well, they don't. They run the country. They run your Congress. 70% of the Congress is doing what they're told.
Oh yeah.
And the president's just a, he's a puppet.
Yeah, they're all bought off from the top right on down.
From the top right on down. And it's always been like that ever since I was a kid and before then.
Do you think coming out here on the streets and protesting is doing us any good?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never seen it do any good. But I'll tell you what, people are starting to wake up now. And now you've got states that have declared their sovereignty to the 10th Amendment. They're not going to take any more bull crap from the federal government. You know, we collect tax dollars in this state, and so does every other state. And they send it into the federal government, and then they figure out how much is going to go back to each state for what they need to use it for. But there's always strings attached to force us to kind of go along with some federal bureaucratic crap. And they're not there to ride herd on the states. The states make up their own minds. They govern themselves. They don't need the federal government to be doing that. And they're dictating. And we're not going to let them do that anymore. They just took a $1.6 trillion deficit, and with this new president, and believe me, I don't care what color his skin is, it has absolutely nothing to do with it at all. And they've been talking about these Tea Partyists, you know, and how they're just prejudiced because the black man's... Nobody said a dang thing about him being black.
Right.
The fact is, he's a puppet, and he works for the Bilderberg Group and the Federal Reserve Bank. And people need to wake up and get that out there and do what we're doing. Fight back. You know, if a society just sits back and watches things happen, then they're going to just get their way, and they're going to get their way over and over and over again until we put a stop to it.
Think about Ron Paul's new resolution, HR.
I'm totally in love with that guy. I think he should have been the president. And
Yeah.
this system just shoved him aside like he was nobody. He's one of the hardest working men in politics. And that guy is not afraid of any of them.
You know, the right-wing media now is getting on the bandwagon, or trying to. They're basically hijacking the Ron Paul movement, you know.
Well, the last thing I checked, the resolution's up to 96 co-sponsors for that 1207 bill. And I'll tell you what, we got a chance to get it, make it happen. These people need to be audited.
Exactly.
And then once we find out who the fraudulent parties are and just how deep the fraud goes, which we already know, they just took a $1.6 trillion deficit and turned it into a $9 trillion deficit. I got 6 grandchildren, man. And when they have kids, them kids are going to be born into debt. And they are never going to see a light at the end of any tunnel because there's nothing backing that money up. They're just printing it off a printing press. And these people that are following Obama, they think he's just some kind of savior. But if they would just think that the only reason they think he's some kind of savior is because Bush was a complete asshole. And they wanted Bush to be just what he was, so they could put Obama in here and gain the faith of the American people. That guy is as plastic as this bottle of water I got over here. And I'm not kidding you. And I hope this video gets somewhere online for people to see it.
Yeah, it will. Well, thanks a lot for being here.
You're more than welcome.